Hey everybody, Scoutcrafter here again. It's Monday, Mishmash Monday. We got a great show planned for today. That doesn't necessarily mean it'll pan out. I was talking to my girlfriend before and she said she forgot to take the lottery ticket. It was up to $400 million. And you want to feel good for a second. Think about what you would do with $400 million if you won that. And like the thoughts that race through your mind of all the things you would do, right? And I said, the first thing you do is you don't tell anybody because you know as well as I do, if you get $400 million, people start coming out of the woodwork, you know what I mean? About relatives you never knew you had and things like that. And so, but it's pretty hard to keep that under wraps, right? Wouldn't be for me. I wouldn't change much. I got to tell you, I might buy maybe a new buffing wheel. That's about it. I really, I don't need much to be happy. Anyway, for today's program, we got a couple things to talk about. And the first project I want to show you, I did not want to do this, but you're going to laugh. Let's take a look at it. Okay, we have a hell of a backstory with this thing. Now, my sister in my family is the successful person. She has her own business, a successful business, and she knows a lot of rich people. And we have a friend of the family that she knows, and he had this, and he's very, very wealthy. And this is this is a very expensive picture. Now, you would look at it and say, that is as plain as can be. But this thing was, he was offered $8,000 for this. Can you imagine that? I can't, but $8,000, it's sterling silver. And here's the markings on the bottom. Can you see that? Can you see that there? And apparently this was on the cover of some magazine. I don't know if it was made by somebody special. You know how that is. So here's the backstory. The handle's broken, right? So he goes, my sister's talking to him and he says, I wish I could. And she goes, my brother could fix that. My brother could fix that. And I'm like, do you know how I don't like to mess with nice tools because, now can you imagine dealing with an $8,000 picture? So I'm supposed to fix this, and I don't even know how this thing was made. Now, I know there's probably some tinsmith out there that's saying, like, I hope this guy's not going to touch this thing. I got to do it. What can I do? I can't say no. I got to fix it. And I told him, I said, listen, once I touch this, I'm going to devaluate it. And he's like, but my sister's like, oh, no, you won't. You'll do it right. You know how that is. So let's see what we can do. Okay, I'll tell you the truth. It wasn't as bad as I thought. I'm pretty happy with this repair. Okay, now let's check this out. You see here, there's a pin in there. You see inside there, right there, there's a pin. And that pin, see, that's the back side. Here's the little head of that pin. It looks like a nail or something. And this was a loop, I imagine, at one time. And they put that in and then put the pin in. That's what held it in. Obviously, it wasn't a great design because the thing broke, or loosened up. Or I can't see how this thing would hold. And now, I don't know, is this some kind of bone? This looks like something like a tusk, a bone or something. But it did at one time, you could see here, it was painted black. See there? Everybody's cringing right now. It's like, dude, do not touch this thing. I don't know. So at one time this thing was shiny black, and I wanted to JB weld it. And I know right now everybody's laughing, right? I want to JB weld it, but to JB weld it, you're going to have to do something inside here to make that stronger. So first thing I have to do is get the whole handle off. So I got to disconnect this somehow. Okay, now using my trusty channel locks, I was able to pull this pin out of the bottom here, you see? And you see what this reveals? Okay, so there we go. So this handle was cut down like this, okay? And I don't know what that is in there, but you see here, and there was the hole that it went through. So if I could do that on this side, what is this? I have no idea what this is. It's like, this doesn't belong there. This is like some kind of rubbery. Maybe somebody tried to repair it before with a silicone type glue, which is what it looked like, the thing I just broke off. And here was the piece that went through originally, it was probably part of this handle. If it's bone or something was cut down, and that's the same thing that happened when that was solid. When it went in there, it so we'd have to take a form of this to make and then put it onto here. So let's get to that. Okay, so here's what I did. I cut off whatever tip was there, right? So now it's nice and flush. We still have this piece, which is okay. This piece goes in the bottom here, and this piece, you see how that matches up to the top here now? It matches up pretty nice. So now what we have to do is I have to put something in here to drill a hole and have something come out that'll secure this when I put the JB weld or something in here, or make a plug that it's secure, that this has to be as solid as this is. You know, it's got to be something that comes out of here that makes it solid, and I think it'll look pretty good. Let's get to that. Okay, here we go. We took a nail of the appropriate size. It's strong yet malleable, bendable, and we drilled 2 holes in here, you could see, and they go pretty deep into the horn or whatever this is. And we'll press this in, we'll epoxy it. Now this can only stick out 3/8 of an inch for it to fit. And what we'll do is we'll epoxy that in there. Now you can see the bottom piece goes in here. This will fit into the top. Again, you see how it can't come out too far because I won't be able to get it in here. But once I get this down to the approximate length, it'll fit in there like that. And then we'll fill it with JB Weld, and hopefully that'll give a super secure feeling. Now, as far as this here, if this is some kind of bone, this might be able to be polished out. So I'm going to try and do that on the inside here to see if I don't mess it up. But I would like to get this polished out. And then when everything is secure, I'll try and polish this out to take away any visual aspect to the handle repair. Okay, here's the handle all polished up. Now, you see what I'm saying? Like, I think this is some kind of bone or horn or something, because you could see, if you look real close, you see the, you know, the texture. I think that's what they wanted, you know, because this way it's not don't slip out of your hand or whatever. But all that texture we are able to maintain by polishing it out instead of painting it or anything. It has a nice sheen to it. It's not, you know, this is just the way I think it should look. So I'm pretty happy with this. Let's get to epoxying this this pin in. You can see this thing goes in about 1/2 an inch, at least 1/2 an inch, almost 3/4 of an inch. It goes into those holes. So let's epoxy that. You have to remember, when you're going to epoxy something like this, you have to rough up this nail, get it all scratched up and roughed up, because you don't want this sliding out, you know. And then we'll acetone it, make sure it's nice and clean, and then we'll insert it into the epoxy. Okay, this pin is now epoxied in there, and you can see how this is going to fit. One will go in the bottom here. This just makes it here. You have to actually just, you know, just give it a little lift. It just makes it in. So when we fill those voids with epoxy, it'll fit like a glove, like it should. We'll make sure that it's centered before we dry it, just like that. But while we have this drying and everything, what I'm going to do is take advantage without the handle and polish the insides here, because it gets a little easier to do without the handle. And then we'll do. Now, one of the beautiful things about sterling silver is how nice it polishes up, and you do get that patina coming through, and the, you know, the tarnish will come through. But when you want to test out something, especially on something like this, we've been using this in my family for years, Noxon. It's a type of metal polish, and basically I have a piece of dampened rag here, okay? You don't need a lot, but we're going to do a test spot, an inconspicuous test spot down here where a lot of the tarnish is and whatnot. And what you do is you basically, to do any kind of polishing, you let the polish do the work, but you apply a little bit of, you know, we're not going to take this to the buffing wheel or anything, but, you know, just hand polish it back and forth. And I'm doing this in real time so you can see what it looks like. Now, what will happen is it'll start to build up a slurry. And a slurry is basically, you'll see the black building up. See that? That's actually like silver particles building up on here. But that's okay, because that's what you have to use. And then, you know, don't switch your rag, so, because that helps polish it, the actual black. So then when you get to this point here, you see where that is? Flip the rag here, get to a clean spot. of your dampened towel and polish that out again. Okay, and then all you're going to do with this is you're going to buff it. See, when you get to this point here, we're going to buff it with a clean cloth like this. Now the buffing here is really where the shine comes through, and you'll see here in a minute. And here we go. There we go. Look at that. Can you see the difference here? Can you see what that looks like? You know, now after we finish everything, we'll go over it with a cleaner wax, and I'll take off any of that light scratches or whatever that you have. But you see the difference you have. That's one thing nice about sterling silver, is that how nice it polishes it up. The problem is it also tarnishes just as quick. Now you know my favorite part. Remember what this picture looked like before we started. And we're calling this project done. Did a little polish on here. You could see here, this is the bend test over here, Tool Addict. You can see there, it looks pretty good, but check this out, you know? I mean, not only does sterling always polish up nice, right? But check out this repair now. This is solid as can be. It really, I'm pretty happy with the way this came out. I mean, you cannot tell that that was repaired in any way, shape, or form. Top and bottom fits nice and snug, solid as can be, no wiggle. Now, what they used to do, I think what real tinsmiths used to do, is they used to take the handle, narrow it down, and then melt wax or something in there, and that's how they kept it from wobbling around. But this here now, the handle, I was doing some research on this. This is ebony. I should have known that. You know, it's not a bone or anything, because it's an ebony. It's an African wood, pretty rare, very hard wood, but it did come out nice. It looks exactly the way it would have, new. And, you know, also when I was doing some research, you know, I'll tell you something. When I heard $8,000, I was thinking, well, it sounds like a little bit of a, you know, some people think their stuff is worth money. But it turns out that, check this out. Yeah, that's for real. This thing was, it's no joke. It's, you know, so here we go. This one's in the can. Nice little project. He's going to get for his 90th birthday. He just wants it fixed. You know, he was just, you know, he's had it, and it means sentimental value for something, for some reason or another. So he'll be so happy that it's cleaned up, fixed, and he could put it back into his cabinet. So in closing, just want to say thanks very much for sticking around. I hope you have a great day. Take care now. Bye-bye.